What's up, everybody? It's Trey Smith, one half of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast, and today we're going to get into some post-early signing day Red River rivalry. All right, before we do, please hit subscribe. We are the college sports channel that drops fresh content every single day. All right, you saw the title, Sooners Stay Strong, Same Old Texas. Let's talk about these Longhorns for a second. All I've been hearing about is how Sark is going to save the program now. He landed a top 5 class and all the money that's going to all the linemen and how much they're paying guys on NIL deals and the highly coveted transfer of Quinn Ewers coming from Ohio State. He was originally the number 1 overall recruit for the 2022 class. See this face right here? That's about how I feel when I hear that coming from particularly the Texas Longhorn fans. See, I'm not trying to be a Longhorn hater. I'm just trying to be a Longhorn fact checker because it sounds very familiar when I hear Longhorn fans getting all fired up in the media, getting all fired up about how the new coach and his new recruiting class and how he just needs time to get in his players. Because if I recall correctly, Tom Herman didn't have a problem recruiting. Charlie Strong didn't have a problem recruiting. And I'm not going to bring up Mack Brown because Mack Brown won big at Texas, but the last 2 coaches the Longhorns have had never had a problem recruiting. In fact, if you look at the last several years, the class of 2020 was the 8th ranked class in the country, and that was after February signing day, not just the early signing period, like actual when all the results were in. In fact, the 2018 and 2019 recruiting classes for Texas were back-to-back top 3 classes. Top 3, not top 5, top 3. And then before that, they were still in the top 10 consistently. And I'm not even going to go back as far into the Charlie Strong days because you'd see the same exact thing. So here's what I think about the Longhorns. They're like a dysfunctional NFL organization. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. You know, an NFL organization that can't ever seem to get out of its own way because the ownership and all the money people who are in charge of the organization are too busy trying to be the football people in charge of the organization, and therefore the actual football people, the football decision makers, the football coaches, and the football players are really never able to get on the same page and do anything that they really know they need to do because all the money people involved in the organization, the ownership, the front office, whoever it might be, are too busy trying to make all the football decisions. And then as a result, you continuously, year after year, become a victim of your own expectations. And that's what's happening with Texas. I believe all the money, all the Uncle Rico boosters who so desperately want not just for Texas to be great and for Texas to be a prominent power and to live up to the blue blood name, but they also want the credit. And they also want this guy and this guy and this guy. And it's not really about who the head coach wants on the team. It's all about who do these boosters want on the team and how many stars are next to their name. See, Texas has never had a problem recruiting talent. They don't develop the talent. How many 5-star recruits has Texas brought in that have translated into first-round draft picks? I'll hang up and listen. Not very many, if any at all, particularly over the last decade or so. So I'm not buying into all this hype that Texas is, Sark is primed for 2022 with this recruiting class because Texas's problem isn't their players. Texas's problem isn't their coaching staff. Texas's problems are far beyond that. It's like the NFL organization whose ownership can't get out of its own way and continues to hold the organization back. That's Texas's problem. Their boosters or their money guys, like whoever it is, whatever it is, there is a massive disconnect. And as a result, the performance you see on the field week in and week out, year in and year out, continues to go down the same trail. It's another lap each year. Great recruiting class, major hype, disappointing season. Meanwhile, you've got the Oklahoma Sooners, who literally several weeks ago looked like they were on the cusp of a dumpster fire. Their coach jumps ship to go where apparently he thinks are greener pastures, maybe sunnier pastures, out in LA, takes the USC job. They start losing key players to the transfer portal. They start losing key recruits almost immediately. And all of a sudden you're going, uh-oh, OU's in trouble. OU's in big trouble. And then the legendary Coach Bob Stoops steps out of the broadcasting booth and comes in and takes on the interim head coaching job. They hire Brent Venables, who comes in to salvage the recruiting class by early signing day, finishing in the top 10. Now, obviously, we still have some time to go once we get on the other side of bowl season to see how the final rankings play out. But top 10, I mean, that's on par with what Lincoln Riley was doing. If you look at the last couple of years, they were in the top 15, top 10. He brings in an amazing staff or retains some of the guys that were already on the staff. And all of a sudden you're going, what OU looked like, was going to happen 3 weeks ago, or the dumpster fire that looked like was getting ready to happen. It was inevitable 3 weeks ago. Now, all of a sudden, it's like you would never even know. Because what are they doing right now? They're in bowl prep. And they've got Bob Stoops leading that ship. So their bowl prep practices are productive. Texas right now is in off season. They started their off-season program.